Good morning, all, and the Shameless Movement community. Good morning to you. I'm coming to you live post-workout. And I was like, oh, I'm all sweaty. And I think in our age of social media and Instagram and, there's so much emphasis placed on looking perfect, right? And I'm just as much a goddess when I'm in my glasses in a hot, sweaty mess as when I look like, I look gorgeous right now, but like when I look, all done up and purty. I'm purty. What do I mean? I mean, like, you know what I mean. Dressed up with the makeup and the contacts and all that. And I love both, but this is also, yeah. So something I've been focused on is, I know, I'm sure this microphone on this phone is so good. Like, I know you can hear me shuffling my cards. This is the Goddess Oracle deck, like asking for a little, just checking in with the energies. But what was just dropping in is, so like, one of my recent focuses has been on building my strength and resilience. And is that not like what we're all going through right now? Oh my gosh, this is Coffee with the Goddess. My coffee is over there. Hold up right there. How can I have coffee with the Goddess with no coffee? Or tea, or matcha, or whatever you're drinking. So, and I don't know if you've noticed, look at my new statue of Kuan Yin. Isn't she lovely? So now her compassionate energy just blesses this space every day, which is really, really nice. And think about what that could be for you too. Like, for sure, I was feeling it as I was redoing my office. It was like the sacred feminine wanted a stronger presence here as a reminder, of our own divinity and this holy temple that is our body. So I'd love to know if there's any, so we really look to these goddesses like they're like archetypes, right? Themes. Oh, my hands smell like incense. That's so great. I lit my little candle in my gorgeous crystal holder there, and it's all part of how I set the space. And like, how does this relate to being strong and showing up hot, sweaty, and a mess? Is this being of a goddess? It's not like an occasional thing. It's just who we be, right? So what this means is like, how do I create that space so that it's always nurturing me? Hence why I changed the color of my room from, it was like a light mauve, I guess, or it was the painting choice of the previous owner. And it was cool. I jammed with that for a while, but it wasn't me, And so this blue is like, every time I come in here, it's like, yes. And so now just kind of like checking in with divine feminine energies. Oh, she wants me to pull from the bottom of the deck. Okay. Oh, okay, cool. Oh, are you kidding me right now? Look who is showing up. Collie Fear. Wow. This is such a powerful painting of her too, because of course, I've seen many different representations of her. And this is like her in her full out, rah, right? So a Collie is often feared because of this kind of the association with death, but it's death as in a part of the cycle of life. And we always have cycles of life and death, beginnings and endings, right? Always. And so this is so interesting because it's like this piece, yes, right, Gaia, like, woo, she's not messing around. She was like, hello. When Collie shows up on your doorstep, and it's not all the time. It is not all the time. This is, and this is so what we're going through right now as a collective, is this dying off of the old and creating something new. And so we are literally, the frequencies on the planet are higher and faster. Our bodies actually have to adjust to that, like physically, because we are vibrational ourselves. And part of that is this, how do you set the space for it so that we are soothed and nourished through this process, as well as the practices around strength, resilience, coming back to our power, right? So I know that's been part of me, you know, like that's what I'm like in my workout gear right now, because my trainer was here this morning busting my butt. And I feel so fortunate to have found her, someone that like fit in my budget and who could come here and we could work out safely together. But this, what does this have to do with Collie, and what does this have to do with you? Is sometimes it can be, you know, and this is why I like her little subtitle, sous-titre, is fear. Because when we come to an ending, as much as we are wired for change, we're still scared of it. It's like, even though we want something more, we want something better, you know, it's like, it's still scary, even if it's something that we really, really, really want. Because there's always this, what is the energy that's being occupied now that's going to shift and change? Even if it's like, let's say it's a job that you don't particularly like, right? Oh, perfect example. This came up for me where I created a business that would protect me. I didn't even get this until this morning. So like, I had come out back in 2014, 2015 with like Claim Your Feminine, the Claim Your Feminine course. I was talking about all this stuff, and like, you know, now it's like everybody's talking about it. But at the time, it was not, I was one of fewer voices around this like rising feminine, connecting with the body, with our intelligence and all this stuff. This is what happened, because it's just like Muriel Rukeyser says in one of her poems. She says, if one woman were to tell the truth about her life, the world would split open. So very often, once we know that we have a safe ear or a safe space, and that dam can break open of all the things that we've held unspoken or unexpressed in our bodies, it can kind of go like, right? So what had happened was, back in 2014, 2015, my boundaries were not as practiced as they are today. And of course, always needing more and better work, at least for me. And so what had happened is I was out there talking about the feminine and sensuality and our power and all this stuff. And so many women would come with their stories and like gush them all over me, which was my honor to receive. And here's the thing, and this is important for all of us to remember. If you are a sensitive being, which if you're in this circle, most likely you are, if you are a healer, sage, teacher, creative, which likely if you're in the circle you are, people will come to us with their stuff. And it's so important that our energy field is strong and we have appropriate boundaries so that we can serve and help without being dragged down into the muck. Does this make sense? Right? We've all been there with a client or a family member or a friend, where it's like, it starts to feel tuggy when you get on the phone. Like at first you're like, oh my gosh, let me hold space for you. Like, what do you need? And then 3 phone calls later, you're like, okay, I'm starting to feel a little drained now. Okay, this is starting to pull on my energy. This is really key. When you start to feel that, it's like your body's telling you like, there's an imbalance here. There's a stronger boundary that needs to be built to protect your energy, because your energy comes first. You can't do any of the things that you are here to do if your energy is leaking, okay? So going back to my story, so there I was out there talking about, and I was so new to it too. It was so new to me, this idea of being in service to the divine feminine. I didn't know anything about the divine feminine before that. I may have been a women in gender studies major back in college, but you better believe that we weren't talking about like goddess shit. It was all like critical theory and philosophy and really important stuff, because it helped me see the patriarchy at the tender young age of 18 or 19, and talking to my colleagues now, for many women, that doesn't necessarily happen until now with the Me Too movement. It's how there are people who now are seeing that racism still exists in our community. And there's whole groups of people who are like, oh my God, it's been happening all along. How did you not see this? But it's we are awakening as a collective. We're seeing more and more. Our awareness is heightened more and more as we are evolving in this high vibration way, right? Towards a new experience on Earth. So when I was doing that thing and I didn't have such strong boundaries and I wasn't as practiced at really coming in with holding my power intact, the story is so much pulling, right? And I realized that what I did was I went and I created another business that, for all kinds of reasons. So this is not the only reason, but something that just clicked this morning, and why I'm sharing it with you is what just clicked this morning was, oh my gosh, I felt safe in that business. Even though it's not my heart business, even though it's not my purpose, my purpose is this, right? Is being that ambassador of unconditional love, of being that representative of joy on the planet, of just being my own goddessy self. And so that, because we're all, we all are, we're all here and amazing. And part of my purpose is to help activate and inspire that in you. And what just dropped in this morning was holy crap, I had created this whole other thing because since I didn't yet have the boundaries and the power, and I was letting in, it would happen all the time. People would book calls with me, and instead of, making a sale, it was bleh. They were just kind of vomiting all their stuff all over me. So, which sounds horrible, but it's it wasn't. It was their real truth of what they were experiencing in that moment. And because I didn't have the boundaries to be here's what's appropriate here, and here's what's not, it was just kind of the floodgates were open, and not even realizing I created this other thing that was safer. You know what I mean? Where it was oh no, we're talking strategy, we're talking marketing, we're talking, so people wouldn't be oh my gosh, and then my ex did this, and then this is what happened, and then this other thing happened. And what's so interesting is that now that I'm opening these doors back up again, right? Founding the Shameless movement, writing Shameless, Unleash Your Message, Impact and Power, as I step forth as teacher to teachers, teacher to leaders. Here's part of my role on the planet. Many of us are here again now. The priestesses, the witches, the courtesans, the midwives, so much. You are so powerful. And you chose to be here now during this amazing time on the planet because your medicine is needed, because you and your full creative power is so needed on the planet, right? So it's part of my role is to help, is to support, is to inspire, more people showing up and just being their full goddess selves, or gods, like, or whatever. It doesn't have to be gendered at all, right? That's like besides the point. It's just about showing up as that full, multifaceted, multidimensional expression of who you are. And now what's happening is like, now that I've opened up these doors again, what's so interesting is those conversations are starting to drop in, but I'm in a different place. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like, hold up. That's so interesting. One, I'm not as, right, I've practiced so that I am able to hold compassionate space. This is a skill set that we all need, to be able to hold compassionate space and be that beacon of love without it costing us, right? What we learned was how to give it, and like take stuff on for other people, right? Like that's what culturally we've been taught to do. It's what we saw our moms do. It's what we saw our grandmothers do. It's like sacrifice, right? Sacrifice as being the model of true love. And what we're learning is like, of course, this is not true. We are infinite, so we don't have to sacrifice in order to give and support and love and beam energy to, because like to sacrifice implies that there's a finite amount. And so in order for me to support you, I have to like deplete my resources. But that is not true. And I feel like this is part of why all this is coming up today. And like, so why is this coming up with Callie? Well, like Callie for me is going, hey, Charisse, there's still some stuff here for you, as there is always. We're constantly evolving. Until we take our last breath, we are evolving, right? There's always more work. And play, development, learning, inspiration, change, like fun stuff, right? It's not actually like work. It's like work, you better work. And it also means if you are tuning in, then you were meant to see this card and you were meant to receive this message, because it's no accident, right? This means that you, my love, are in a magical time of something is being cleared to make way for something new. Okay, so practical stuff, right? Like, great, awesome. So I'm a hot, sweaty mess. Like, where do I begin, right? So what's really interesting is what's so fun about playing. Okay, here's the deal, right? You are an infinite soul, physically focused in this gorgeous body. Now we're used to kind of thinking like that the soul and the spirit is like this etheric thing separate from the heavy, dense body, which is like, ugh, we've been taught like, oh, especially women's bodies are like, ugh, that's like sinful and shameful and blah, blah, blah. It's not, it's like totally the opposite. This is the physical expression of your soul. Okay. That's how sacred this temple is. Okay. And so why did we come to play in 3D space? To be like, how can we be infinite beings in a space of like 3D limitations, right? With like time and space and stuff like that. It's because we wanted this experience, right? So the point of that is physical changes that you make in your environment impact you energetically. It's all connected. Every single, you look at anything, quantum physics, you look at medicine, you look at anything, it's all reflecting this, that there is no such thing as just the physical and just the energetic or etheric or soul or what have you. It is all connected. And so that means, oh man, if you're feeling like stagnant in the energy, or gosh, I know I've got some stuff to release, right? This is what Callie is saying. Callie's like, you may or may not be aware of this, but I am here to tell you. That's what she would do. She'd like flip her hair like that, right? I am here to tell you, you got some shit to clear, right? So, and that's a good thing. That just means like, all right, okay, cool. What is unnecessary, or what is perhaps like just a little impediment to your next evolution? We can make those changes in our environment, and it has the effect that we want. So meaning, this is going to sound super simple and almost ridiculously stupid, but it's not. Declutter. You know, if there's like, I just opened up my closet a minute ago, right? And I was like, oh my God, it's like packed full of stuff in here. Oh, no. Nope. You talk to any, oh my gosh, what's the word? With like the energetics of space. I'm forgetting. But it's basically this, yes, Kyle, I've got the message. Woo! Yes, this is the time to release a lot of fears. It's no accident. I love that you said that, Kyle, because it's no accident that there are so many people that are kind of panicked or went through waves of panic. Totally, I declutter since this morning. I love that. I know, I've been feeling this like, okay, there's still stuff from the previous owner in the garage. They were a lovely older couple. They did the best that they could to like just, you know, but they'd lived in this house for 20 plus years. This is a very interesting, lots of energy, lots of creative wiring in this house. But so this lovely older couple, they lived here for 20 plus years. They accumulated a lot of stuff. And so when it was time for them to move, like they did the best that they could. And then they got to the last few pieces and they were just like, we're done. I'm sorry. We're just going to leave it in the garage. It was like, okay, don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. Right. So it's still there. Like 2 years later, I got this pile of stuff in my garage where it's like, all right, ready to move that on. It's not even my stuff. It's not even my energy. So yeah, decluttering, even like organizing in a beautiful way, like not organizing because it's like, we must be organized. It's like, how does this serve you? Right? Yeah. Older houses have lots of character, and girl, you know, Yvette, you got me in this house. I hold you personally responsible. No, just kidding. Yvette was my brilliant realtor getting this house. Like, yes, old houses have a lot of character. All houses have a lot of character. And here's the thing, like, I learned this actually talking to a guy who does what he does for a living. This is so paranormal state, but what he does for a living is clear houses, especially if there's, let's say, unwanted activity. Whether that shows up as like, I don't know, spirits or what have you, your little neighborhood demon or what have you. It's like he comes in and he clears. And one of the things that he mentioned to me, because I was just so curious. And I was like, so how do you keep your space clean? You know, like, okay, great. Someone hires you, brings you in, you clear their space. He's amazing. By the way, he's so good. He actually has a reputation on the other side. If you believe in that stuff, I do. Like, he's incredible. And if you ever, if you ever have trouble selling a house, and you don't know why, he's the guy to call. Because sometimes there's something energetic going on that just needs to be released. I asked him, I was like, so how do you, all right, great. You come in, you clear. He does like a protection spell. And then how do you keep it clean? He's like, just like vacuuming. And I was like, vacuuming? Are you serious? Yes. So it's like cleanliness, decluttering, even just like organizing in a way that keeps the energy flowing for you. So it could be, this is all like what works for you, right? So for me, for example, I loved, what's her name? The Magic of Tidying Up, Marie Kondo, right? So I don't do her whole thing. But I loved her idea of folding your clothes in such a way so that you could kind of stack them vertically as opposed to horizontally. So when I go into my drawers, instead of like, where's that thing? And I'm like looking under piles, everything like a file cabinet. It's like crazy. I was like, it's made my life so much more fun and easy. And I just go in and I'm like, oh, those are since I'm living in yoga pants, because it is a global pandemic. Feng shui, that was the term. Thank you, Gail. That is exactly the term I was looking for earlier. Like, what is the science of energetic flow? And feng shui is that. And it's like same thing, right? What did they talk about? Like, what are your kind of lines of energy and making sure. And here's the thing. If you feel a kinship or you feel like, ooh, I want to learn more about that, learn more about that. But what I'll tell you is this, you don't even need to learn a system or learn a thing if you just tune in and pay attention. What feels stagnant in my field? Like, or what's kind of, you can tell, it's like just like a little irritation. Like every time you walk past that pile of books and you're like, that pile of books is still there. Ooh, it's still there. Oh God, it's still there, right? It's like, and for us as women, like the way our brains are designed from thousands and thousands of years of evolution is we notice these little things. I don't know if you notice, but if you happen to be in a straight relationship and your partner is male, like he walked past that pile of books for months and it will not even faze him. But for us, it will drive us slowly insane, right? Like we'll be like, how do you keep walking past that sock on the floor? Like just pick up the freaking sock. Like how do you do that? But that's because our brain is wired to look for these little details because of what we did millions of years ago or thousands of years ago. And whereas the masculine brain is a little bit different. We're more alike than we're different, but this is one of the things. So it'll drive you bazonkers. But here's the thing, that awareness is a pro. It's a positive because that means you're aware of like, if something's like kind of bugging you, it's an energy leak. Right? It's an energy leak that you're tolerating. So you look for those things and you go, okay, you know what? This little, the way that we're doing our mail, how it's coming in the, sometimes it's over here, sometimes it's over there, sometimes it's over, you know what? I want a space where it's like here, and you put a little tray or you put a little something, and you're like, here's where all the mail comes in. No more looking for the mail. Same thing with your keys, right? It just always goes on this hook. It sounds like so banal, doesn't it? And yet, how much energy does this free up for you? And this is how I want you to kind of go through your day today and think about this is what I take from Collie. Collie does not have to be, she's not a scary goddess, right? She is actually like such a hopeful goddess because it's like, very often it's like, you know what? Yeah, I want a new beginning. Like, yes. Okay, so what needs to shift so that I can upshift, right? And sometimes it's as simple as cleaning out the back of your car. Isn't that funny? But for shizzle, it's really like this is how this stuff works. What we do in our physical environment affects our energetics, right? So as you're going through your day today, just notice, like, what are the things that are just a little bit of an energy leak that you could recapture? Maybe it's like a little tangle of wires, like we all have that behind our computers, right? Ugh. Or maybe it's just like a little corner of clutter or a closet you haven't looked in 3 months or something. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be big. And what I would say is don't make it big. Don't make it big. Like, it's very easy. We love to like overwhelm ourselves. Like, don't get overwhelmed. It's like, what is that next little thing and that next little thing? And before you know it, you like tweak this and you tweak that and you make a little change here and you make a little change there. And then before you know it, you've got like, oh my gosh, this space feels so great. Like I used to feel a little stressed when I'm just saying hypothetically, but like even not hypothetically, this space for me, it didn't stress me out that the walls were a color that I didn't connect with, but it didn't nourish me either, right? And so it was like, how do you create of your space so that you remove the leaks and create something that feeds you? This is Collie's message today. It could be something that you release or tweak just to recall some energy. That's all we're doing. We are infinite. When we declutter, we're just recycling energy. We're just like, you know what? The energy that I had bound up, it's the same thing with like weight gain. right? When we have that like extra, curvage on the body, it's just stored energy. That is all it is. And so sometimes, sometimes you get to a point where it's like, I want that energy back. I want to use it over here. I want to write a book. Call in some energy. I want to create something new. Collie, whether you like it or not, you're creating something new. Surprise! We are creating a new world. So, all right. Thank you all so much for tuning in this morning. Thank you for those of you who joined me live, and so much love and blessings to you and to anyone whenever you watch this. From my heart to yours, Collie and I love you. Take what you need and pass it on. Ciao.